Hi, Guillaume Laforge.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us at JAX London.
My pleasure.
You are, of course, a Groovy project manager,
Mm-hmm.
and you initiated the Grails project, not
Yeah.
the creator.
Yeah.
Don't want to take all the...
Right.
So you
All
just
the
did a
credits.
talk on what makes Groovy Groovy.
Yeah.
And you described Groovy as Java's best friend.
Yeah, true.
What would a Java developer get out of Groovy?
So Groovy. So when I say Groovy is Java's best friend, there are many reasons for that. First of all, it's easy to get up to speed with Groovy because it derives from, in terms of syntax, from the Java grammar itself. So any Java developer is at ease with Groovy right away because in terms of syntax, it's pretty close. But we go a bit beyond and we try to kill all the boilerplate code that you can have in Java by having some nice shortcuts, some nice conventions, and also things like transformations of code to remove or implement design patterns, but with just triggered by one annotation on the compiler does the job for you. So that plus all the APIs that we have, like template engine, etc. We've got lots of batteries included for Java developers, basically.
Now, Groovy recently broke the top 20 on the Toby Index. What do you attribute to its recent popularity?
So Groovy has always been popular, at least in terms of usage. It's the most widely used alternative language beside Java, with 1.7 million downloads a year and tons of companies using Groovy. But more recently, what's interesting is perhaps the renewed interest is. I think it can be attributed to different things actually. For example, with the Spring Framework 4 coming up pretty soon in the coming weeks. There's a new focus on Groovy and the nice integration with Groovy and the Spring Framework. So you can even write full-blown Spring application in just the span of a tweet if you use Groovy as a language, thanks to Spring Boot, a Spring Boot component. So there's been a lot of buzz about that, but there are also some other projects which drive people to Groovy. For example, the Gradle build automation solution, which is used by guys like the Google Android team for building Android applications. You're going to use Groovy as a DSL for the build automation. So I think it's a combination of things, but there are more and more companies, more and more projects, and more tools and libraries using or integrating Groovy in a way or another. That's why we see it being more in the spotlight these days.
And there's, of course, as you mentioned, a rich ecosystem around Groovy. Which is your personal favourite project or projects of the ecosystem?
Right. It's pretty tough to pick one. So, of course, there are all those popular ones like Grails, etc. But I'd hesitate between perhaps Gradle and Spock. So I mentioned Gradle already, so perhaps I'll just pick up Spock. Mm-hmm. Spock is a very nice testing framework. Which is really using all the advanced features of Groovy, like the code transformations, etc., to make tests which are very readable. For example, you can create data-driven tests with a syntax which looks a bit like a table notation in a wiki format, basically. So you really have the pipe science to delimitate the values that certain variables in the test can take. There's a nice use of operator overloading, like you can say 3 times some object dot some method, etc., which means that you expect that method has been called a certain number of times, so you can do some pretty advanced expectations in terms of the asserts that you can express with that testing language, basically. So it's a very, very powerful testing solution which brings both the basic testing features that you have in JUnit because it's based on top of JUnit, but you also have all the mock, all the stub, all the spying stuff. Lots of interesting testing features built in already. Nice project.
Sounds very cool. Guillaume Laforge, thank you very much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.